Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Big DK Energy Podcast. I'm currently freezing my ass off here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. My first time out of Florida in 2 years, and I have a very special pleasure of having this guest in front of me today. I've known this man since 2013, and he really was one of my role models who whipped me into shape during college. And when he's not being a great fatherly figure to his two wonderful children, or being a husband to his wonderful wife, Paige, he is a managing partner at Park Properties, Inc. And also, one thing that you will eventually learn about him throughout the episode is that he is an I Am legend in flag football. We're going to go over all of that. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming today's guest, Mr. Dakota Freed.
Thank you. Very kind introduction. That was wonderful.
I tried my best.
That was great.
Well, as I've explained before, I try to make my intros as great as the people that come on.
I don't know if I'm a legend, but it's nice to be.
You're a legend
nice
to me.
So
I
appreciate that.
You're a legend to me, so it counts.
Okay, as long as it counts to somebody, that's all good.
Absolutely. So we're actually filming from his condo here in downtown Chattanooga, and you've been here for how many years now?
We moved up here in 2016, January. So 5 years? Going on 5 years? 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years, because it's 22, yeah.
My math is very bad.
It's surprisingly, as a half Korean, mine is too.
And I'm always around numbers. That's the scary part. It's just like, it's nerve-wracking, really, to be able to not do math.
Hopefully your job doesn't revolve around that too much.
It's like 95% of what I do.
Oh, really?
When it's not, yeah. Well, just on on the number crunching side. It's a lot of numbers, but somehow I make it through.
Excellent.
I have a calculator for most of the time. So, do you really need to know math if you have a calculator?
Right, because then you remember our teachers, they said, you won't ever have a calculator with such quick and easy access. That's because they haven't heard of the iPhone.
Lies.
Yeah, screw what they said.
Yeah, no, teachers, what do teachers know? Just kidding. To all the teachers.
Yeah.
I'm like 5 seconds in and already like...
No, you're good. No, we love our teachers, but
We love all of our teachers.
Your jobs are much easier than the ones that we had to deal with growing up.
Shout out all my favorite teachers, Miss Hess, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones and you?
Mr. Jones and you.
You don't know Counting Crows? They have a song called Mr. Jones, and so the chorus of that song goes, Mr. Jones and me.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, now you know.
There we go. I don't know a bunch about music. Just enough to get me by.
There we go. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
which you're gonna have to learn more, since Chattanooga is how many hours away from Nashville, the Music City? 2
hours.
See?
Yeah.
So all you have to do is you and Paige just take a weekend up there, and you can absorb as much music as possible.
We do, man. Oh my gosh. So we just went a couple weeks ago.
Really?
It's a great place for country music, which is like probably on the lower end of what I like to listen to.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I don't like country music that much. Paige, my wife, loves it. She loves country music.
You're an Alabama fan, and yet you don't like country music?
I'm a UCF fan.
Okay.
Before anything else.
Okay, you know what? I rescind my statement because good answer.
With Nitro everywhere. Come on. No. UCF before everybody else. But yes, I actually was born in Alabama.
Really? Where in Alabama?
Huntsville.
Okay. I don't think I've been there, but I have been to Dothan.
Okay. It's very different.
Yeah. Actually, that's where my dad learned how to fly helicopters in the Army.
There you go. Oh, that's right. Both of our dads were in the Army. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, my dad did not fly helicopters though.
He was artillery, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember.
Nice, man.
I remember speaking with him at tailgates, and your parents are lovely people.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, your dad's cool too. I've never been in a helicopter. Actually, I've been once. I've been in a helicopter one time.
Really?
And I was very nervous the whole time. So I don't get sick at all usually when I'm like flying or roller coasters or anything like that. But we went to Hawaii and we went on a helicopter, and I was sick the whole time. I thought I was gonna throw up.
Well, at least you had the entire earth beneath you to throw up on.
Yeah, that's true. So he would fly us into these mountains and stuff, and you could almost touch him, and I couldn't handle it. I was trying to act all tough because I was like, it was our honeymoon and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, it's fine. No, I was in shambles the whole time.
It's funny you mentioned that, because my dad, he said that all the time when he was flying, or at least doing trainings, he would always put his hands out into clouds, and it's just water vapor, so it just goes right through.
That's so cool. That's
right?
awesome.
So, born in Alabama, but then you were raised in Pensacola, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, raised in Florida, the Panhandle. Grew up on the beach. We grew up surfing and playing sports and stuff like that.
And then you made your way to UCF, which I've actually made the trip up to the Panhandle from Orlando. It's a schlep, 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah, so to get from, if you left the university and went to my house, it's 7 hours. Because we are on the very, very end. So you could we're on the state line of Florida and Alabama. So way out there.
So you can start a band called the Florida Alabama Line.
So yeah, well actually the claim to fame like right down the street from us is the Floribama Lounge, and it's like we've had like Taylor Swift has come out there and played, and like a bunch of like, once again, I don't know a lot about country. I should have brushed up, but like a bunch of other like big country people go out there. I don't know.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I'm not a big country fan either. So.
Yeah, me neither.
To be honest, when we were listening to like Luke Bryan and like the Florida Georgia Line at tailgates, I put them in the category of what I call fuckboy country.
Okay.
Because that's what the frat boys who weren't country listened to in order to make them look like they're country.
Yeah, you're coming out of Boca Raton and being like, I'm country. I live my whole country life.
That's actually where I went to high school, in Boca Raton.
Look at me.
Exactly. But you hit the nail right on the head, because they like drive souped up trucks listening to like, I don't know, Dirks Bentley, and it's just like, bro, you played the cross.
Yeah.
get over yourself, man.
Oh my goodness. I will say though, country music is great if you're like mowing the lawn, or like we do some stuff like I'll be out like at the barn or something like that doing some work on the wood or something out there, and country music's great to listen to.
Oh, you have a barn?
Yeah.
So like you have...
I have a tractor.
So do you have like livestock on the barn or on the property?
We used to have chickens. We used to have 7 chickens back in the day. More eggs than you knew what to do with. So we would get like 18 packs of cartons of eggs and try to like give them out to all of our friends. And like they loved it. Like everybody loved it because like they never had to pay for eggs. But it got to be a lot. Especially we have 5 dogs and 2 kids. So we only have so many hours in the day. And
that's like 14 children.
Exactly. So the chickens went to a nice home. They went to a nice farm down the road from us. So, and most of them are still alive and kicking. And,
really? Well, that's good.
Yeah, they got a family with kids and stuff, and they like let them get on their shoulders and arms, and that was a little bit beyond what I did with them, but
interesting. Okay,
yeah, man.
But as long as they're living a good life.
Exactly. That's all that matters.
So you live here in Chickamauga, Georgia, right?
Yeah, right down the road, right 30 minutes out.
You know, it's actually funny because he lives in Georgia. However, we're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. But then when I asked him Chattanooga, like a state away, it turns out it's only 20 minutes away.
Yeah. So it's kind of like how I grew up. So I grew up on the Florida-Alabama line. So I don't know why, but I guess I'm used to being close to a state line.
So you're used to this kind of like backwoodsy kind of like area. I don't know, because it's so different. Because actually I drove up today for this episode. I woke up at 5:30, left at 7, and then got to your office building like around 4.
Yeah, which props to you for still being awake and like functional right now, because I think I'd be sleeping right now.
You know what, it's all right, because I knew we had to do this episode, and I wanted to be as great as possible, because you deserve to have a good episode.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Of course.
I feel like it's going pretty good.
Excellent. Well, as long as you feel that way, we're already on the right path.
There we go.
So Park Properties Incorporated. Tell us about what they do for the wonderful people of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah. So we've got some apartment complexes, got houses, commercial buildings in Chattanooga and like the surrounding areas. We do property management for all of those in our portfolio. We do investments. So we'll do like real estate investments. We'll try to find and acquire new properties. And after that, we do some construction as well. So building, renovations, all that kind of stuff, that's all within our wheelhouse. So I don't really know. It's kind of hard to describe what I do on like a day-to-day basis, just because I don't know. Like when I go in, I really don't know what I'm going to be doing that day,
oh, really?
Which is exciting. Yeah.
Anything so far-fetched that you were like, I'm not doing this?
I've gotten into a couple of like units that I like, it was either some kind of like, we thought it was going to be like a drug issue, or like we thought we were going to find a dead body or something like that. So
have you ever found a dead body?
One time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It was probably the worst day of my career.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was just, it's a lot. Like you don't really know what you're going to do until you're like in that situation. But I mean, yeah, it was just a part of the job.
There are some things that you don't know that you signed up for, but it's just like, oh yeah, it's in the job description. Where?
It's definitely not. Dead body identification is not in the job description.
For real. It's just like if I wanted to go in forensics, I would have done that, but no.
Yeah, exactly. So like some days, I'll come in and my boss is like, do you know how to operate a bulldozer? And I'll be like, no. And he goes, all right, well, here's the keys. Figure it out. You can do it. And so that's a lot of it's learning on the fly. And then, other days he'll be like, hey, I need you to deal with this closing and these lawyers. And like, there's a team of like 15 lawyers that are going up against you. And, you just got to like, try to like, once again, learning on the fly is huge. So
also every single one of those lawyers has 4 years or however many of law school.
Yeah.
And you have how many years?
0.
Oh, and you were totally thrown into that situation thinking, oh, okay, yeah, you're going to do just fine. Really? Am I going to do just fine?
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. You get put in a lot of situations that are high pressure, and it's fun. It's really fun, honestly.
But you're still in your position, so obviously you're doing something right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like my degree, I have not used it since I've been out of college. So I could have not gone to college and been fine with everything I've done since I graduated. I've probably held like 4 or 5 different jobs, and none of them have required a degree.
But if you weren't in college, you wouldn't have been fraternity brothers.
Exactly. And I wouldn't have met you, and then we wouldn't have even been doing this.
Right.
And who knows where I would have been? I could have been on the side of the road. You never know.
Exactly. Although knowing your parents, they wouldn't allow that.
You never know.
But yeah, Dakota was actually one of the people who helped sire me into Zeta Beta Tau at the University of Central Florida. Of course, no hazing. Actually, it's funny because right before I rushed, there was the Greek shutdown, wasn't there something like that?
Mm-hmm. So much because all the hazing.
Great.
We never did anything like that.
No, it's actually been abolished by a fraternity. I forgot since what year.
I don't know. So we took Wade, my son, to Disney 2 years ago, and I decided, I was like, we're here, we're right by the campus. I was like, I'm going to swing by the house and see what's going on, see how it's changed since I've been there. Because like, I don't know, I heard that they had gotten rid of a bunch of stuff and then they had added a bunch of stuff. So we were down there and Paige was like, yeah, sure, let's check on it. Let's see what happens. So I get in there and I'm talking to one of the guys and he was like, hey, what rush class were you? And I'm going to be honest with you, I completely forgot what rush class I was in. And I'm standing there and I'm on the doorstep and he's like, what rush class were you in? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't remember. And so I had to like I had to take this guy to the composite and like point to the composite and was like, no, I promise. Like, that's me. I used to live here. I used to actually live in this kid's same room. And I was just like, dude, I promise. Like, I'm not trying to break into your fraternity house. I swear.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, because no bad things happen there.
No. It's all good memories.
Yeah.
All great.
Yeah, even though that I only had a few because a lot of that semester was really hazy.
Good choice of words.
Of course. I mean, what are they going to do? Take away our scholarships?
They're going to retroactively come back and take away your brotherhood.
Oh.
So you can't say that you were in a fraternity.
Well, they can do that.
The school police will come get you.
Oh, okay.
We're so close to another university that by connection, I feel like.
Which one?
University of Tennessee, Chattanooga.
The only time I've ever heard that was during the Key and Peele naming thing because one of the players did say, University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. And I'm like, that's a real thing?
It is. It's a real thing. It's with real sports programs and real schoolwork and real degrees. When you get a degree from UTC, fun fact, you actually get a degree that says University of Tennessee. So like everybody looks at it and they're like, wait a minute.
You're a Vol?
Exactly, right? Like, go Vols. Sometimes you got to ask because sometimes it's Chattanooga.
True. I don't know their war chancellor.
They're called the Mocs. MOCS. But they're mockingbirds.
Okay, got it.
It's the state bird of Tennessee. And Florida.
That's right. I completely forgot that. I was thinking Mockingjay, like, was it second book of The Hunger Games?
Yeah, second one.
So besides finding a dead body, speaking of violence in the Hunger Games, you also told me that you have a couple of other crazy stories from your daily workings.
Yeah. So we had an employee. I sent you this video. We had an employee run through our office after hours. So it was like 4:00 or whatever. We were getting ready to shut down. And he runs through the door and there's an officer chasing him and he tackles him in the middle of the floor. And the only person that's there is my boss. And so we're watching this whole thing on the cameras unfold. He's basically yelling at my boss. He's like, help, like, please come help. And the cop is like, of course, like trying to detain him and like arrest him because he's got drugs on him.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so it was a whole mess. But yeah, so that was a fun story. Same guy, he decided to quit his job one day, walked off, was homeless later on. We ended up finding him actually like right down the street from here, downtown, on one of the coldest days of the year.
Oh, dang.
So yeah, but he's good now. He's got a house and
look at that.
He's got a girlfriend and he's turned his life around. So
just goes to show you, it never's too late.
Yeah, and after rock bottom, you just don't do drugs. Don't do drugs.
I've actually experienced rock bottom once too, and it is true, as cliche as it says, the only way to go is up because you're just like, man, this is really crappy. I never want to do this again.
Exactly. It's a good reference point on where not to want to be.
Yeah, and just because some people hit rock bottom, it doesn't make them any lesser of people. In fact, that's normally when some people become their best.
Absolutely. Most people with either like an immense amount of pressure on them or with their backs against the wall, like that's usually when you see what people are made of. That's exciting. Like you don't really ever want it to get to that point, but man, people are capable of some pretty amazing things
they're resilient.
Yeah, when they have to perform, it's exciting to see what people are made of.
Just like you against the 15 lawyers.
Yeah. Wow, that was rough.
I can just imagine them being like, "Oh yeah, I went to Harvard, I went to Princeton, I went to Oxford," and
yeah, it was like a closing, so it wasn't like super high.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't super high pressure, but it was just like they were asking for a lot of stuff, and they were using a lot of like legal terms and stuff. And I'm just like, man, no offense to UCF, but like I went to UCF, I was like, I don't know what half this stuff is. I wasn't a lawyer. I never studied. I got a business degree, so like I didn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah,
so,
most of the legal terms are probably in Latin. It's like, yo, we speak English here.
Yeah, right. I was like, Latin's a dead language for a reason. English.
We're not mass right now. We're at a closing, guy.
Exactly. But it was fun though. It was a good learning experience. That's like 99% of my job has been not knowing what I'm doing and then working my way through it and then learning on the back end.
Excellent.
And hopefully a little bit better than when I started.
And so your boss is actually pretty interesting to you, isn't he?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, he's also my father-in-law. Yeah, I'm a product of nepotism. So
it's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're still hired for a reason, so.
Yeah, we're learning as much as possible.
Because you're good at your job, not because son-in-law.
Yeah, so I was in property management beforehand. So
see, you're golden.
Yeah, before it all started. So I've been doing real estate since I was 18.
Really?
So I've been doing real estate for probably about 11 years. And then I've been in property management since 2016.
What got you interested in real estate at such a young age?
My mom actually did real estate. So she had been doing real estate for God knows how long. So one summer I needed to make some extra money when I came back or when I was in high school. So I worked at a real estate office, and then when I turned 18, I immediately got my license to sell real estate in Florida. And then ever since then, I've always kind of been attracted to the real estate field. It's always been something that I like.
What is something about the real estate field that you like?
You deal with a lot of people. I love talking to people, just interacting, working with deals, negotiating, like is always fun for me. Finding properties is like super exciting. So like when people say like they want a specific thing and you can try to find that and like be like, hey, this is what I've got. That kind of stuff is exciting. Just like feeling that you helped people, like at least on like the residential real estate side, which I don't do a lot of now. Mm-hmm. It's a ton of fun just to like to feel like you're helping people and like making an impact and like helping these people find their homes, like where they're going to be living. And if they're buying them, they're going to be there for a while. They're going to be starting families. You feel like you got a little bit of purpose and like you're really helping these people find their way and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Well, your reason for getting into real estate is way more noble than mine. So I do some real estate shoots, both videography and photography, and I only like the real estate because I'm thinking, what parts of this house would I want in my future home?
There you go. So you're scouting it out for when you want to do it.
Correct.
Now that comes into the construction part. So like we could get blueprints, we could get it drafted up, we could figure out what you want, and then boom, we could build it.
Okay, so I have a dumb question.
Okay.
So besides dealing with the city, like how hard is it to get a pool installed into your house after buying it?
It really depends on where you are. So like if you're in the city limits of somewhere, it's going to be a little bit more difficult just with like permits and stuff like that. If you're like out in more of a rural area, it's going to be a little bit easier just because there's less people. Everybody generally has a little bit more time. So like it's just easier to get things approved. So like when you're going to do stuff like that, you have to apply for like a building permit and an electrical permit and that kind of stuff. So doing that just takes time, and getting approval takes time. So
would that also go into the process of adding a guest house on the premises?
Yes. That would require like electrical, plumbing, all that kind of stuff. So anything that you do...
Especially if it has a bathroom itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anything that you do with building a structure other than like a shed would normally, blanket statement, would require a permit.
Dang, that sucks because I'm not going to lie, in my future home, I want a sauna.
You could do that in your house. You could take out a closet and do that and put it in your house. Now you'd still... Most likely, depending on where you live, you probably still have to pull a permit for that. But it's not hard to pull a permit. Now, to build a sauna, I mean, I've never done that, so I don't know.
Correct. I'd hire somebody else to do that.
Don't hire me.
although you've actually done some handyman projects yourself. I mean, didn't you build your own pool?
I helped. I did not build it. A company came in and did it, but I had to build the retaining wall. I had to be there for the electrical and the concrete work and stuff like that. So like I was definitely a part of it. But we had a great company that came in and did a lot of it. So a pool, if you're living in Florida, it's great. And it's great here too. But like I didn't want a pool at my house. My wife was the exact opposite. She's like, we're going to get a pool. So naturally we sat down.
Happy life.
Naturally, we sat down and we found a middle ground, which was do what she wanted. So we got a pool. But we decided that since it's both of ours, that the maintenance and stuff would naturally fall on me. So I get to maintain the pool and do it all myself. But yeah, so that's been great though. It was once again, it was a huge learning experience, a lot of fun. And now we've got a pool and it's heated. So we could actually, next time, if we're going to record at my house, I was going to have you do a polar dip and jump in right now. I think it's it's like 35 degrees outside right now. So the water temperature, it's probably about like 37, 38.
Dang. If I knew this, I would have brought a bathing suit.
I know. Well, I've got plenty at the house. We could go to the house and record it.
No, that's the thing. I will do that. I will do a polar plunge.
I'll do it with you. I'll do it with you.
You know what? Down.
We're going to do it.
Excellent.
We're gonna do it. I've got a towel warmer at the house too, so we could at least when we get out, we'll have warm towels.
Okay, excellent.
So, yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
See, besides being a great father and a great managing partner, he's also a great host. I mean, this condo, the hospitality is as southern as it gets, which in American terms, that's the highest quality you can get.
5 stars.
6 stars. 6 out of 5.
I try to be. I mean, growing up in the South, it's sort of.
Yeah, I grew up in South Florida. That's the polar opposite
not
of the
really
South.
that South.
The more north in Florida you go, the more south it is.
Exactly.
And the inverse is correct.
So I always grew up if we had people coming over, my mom made sure that the whole family would come by and we'd have to all clean the house top to bottom. And even when you walk in and it's the house is as clean as it's ever been in a decade, my mom would still always say, "Oh, I'm sorry, the house is such a mess.
Of course.
We've had no time to clean up." And I'm like, we've been working all day, a tooth and nail. Yeah. I'm still in the bathroom with a toothbrush, scrubbing the toilet. And she's like, "Yeah, it's just, it's so hard to clean the house." I'm like, man. But no, I always trying to be as hospitable as possible. It's always been kind of a thing for me. I don't know. I just want everybody to be comfortable.
That's a good mindset to have. Thank God I've never done this, but I've heard of situations where people sleep over at another person's house and they don't give them a blanket.
Yeah, no, exactly. I've fallen victim to that before, or no pillow, no blanket, and you're just well, okay. I mean, normally I bring my own stuff just in an event that happens. That would be the time when you're a kid and you're like, "Hey, Mom, I want to get out of here. I want to go home. I'm over this."
Yeah, actually, now that you mentioned that, I remember after one of our family nights, that situation happened to me. I took off my shirt and laid it as a sheet and laid on top of that.
Whatever works.
That, I think, was the drunkest I'd ever been up until that point. Because
Yeah,
I was a late bloomer in college. In fact, the first night I was a new member of ZBT was when I finished my first beer.
There you go. Okay. See, I still can't, to this day, I don't think I could drink Jack Daniels just for that reason.
I smell whiskey and I immediately...
I don't know how anybody drinks it, because my friends, they'll just get a glass and just pour whiskey in it, no ice, no anything, and just start drinking, sipping it. And I'm just, man, I don't know. I'm kind of that way with tequila, so I can't really talk, but man, I don't know. Whiskey, it's rough.
Yeah, especially when people are "Oh yeah, what's a quote unquote manly drink? Jack Daniels." You know what? I'm going to stay with my frozen daiquiris. Thank you very much.
Yeah, can I have another cranberry vodka?
Pina colada.
Extra fruity, please.
Extra fruity, and made sure it had a lot of sex because we don't want it a virgin. Boom!
There we go. So you got to try a bushwhacker.
What's that? Not gonna lie, that sounds like a pubic razor.
That's the joke, but in the Panhandle in Pensacola, so we're known for having a drink that is, I'm not exactly sure what's fully in it, but there's ice cream, milk, there's Baileys, a couple different types. There's dark rum, you have to get spiced rum, you have to get what's the Kahlua? It's basically just a bunch of liquors and milkshake.
Oh God.
So yeah, I don't know why a pina colada reminded me of that, but you've got to try it next time you're in the Panhandle. Ask somebody for a bushwhacker, and you only need one.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you may only need half
a quarter.
Yeah, because they get kind of rough, but they taste amazing. They taste fantastic.
I'll take your word for it.
There's nothing better than being on the beach and drinking a nice cold
bushwhacker.
Yeah. So next time you're in the Panhandle, it's a delicacy, and it'll get you there.
Excellent. Bushwhackers. Sounds like a hell of a drink. Must be something great to drink on NFL Sundays.
Well, I don't know how long you'd make it into NFL Sunday.
Would you even get past a coin toss even?
That would be the last thing you'd remember. Maybe kickoff.
Yeah, possibly, because, everyone's just the starting moment of the game. Of course, we're ready for it, and then rest of it. But speaking of football, you were quite the athlete in IM Sports. I totally remember you just being everything. You were one of our most versatile quarterbacks. You were a fantastic wide receiver, and you played football growing up, right?
Yeah, all throughout my childhood. I actually, when we moved up here, I played in a local league.
Oh, nice.
I hung up the cleats after my second was born, so last September was the last time I played. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you're ever going to get back into it?
It depends on if my wife will let me, honestly. Because I mean, like, she has to watch the kids when I'm gone or when I'm like playing. So it's only one night out of the week, but it's a lot. Hopefully one day I'll make a revenge tour and start playing again.
Excellent. Have you ever thought about coaching?
Yeah. So when my son gets old enough, eventually I'd like to coach him. And obviously if my daughter wants to get into football or anything like that, anything that I know how to coach or like want to try coaching, like I would love to. That's how my dad was growing up. So he would coach us in basketball, football, soccer, like everything. He was a really good coach and like really good with kids and people and stuff, great leader. So I would love to do that, just kind of be that kind of person for my kids. So that'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and it's awesome when dads get involved in their kids' sports. I mean, my dad was my hockey coach growing up. So.
Yeah, see, exactly. So that's kind of like what you want. It's just nice, it's a little bit more bonding and stuff. Like you're driving to and from practices and games, and like you have all that time to spend together, and it's nice. And like looking back on it, you're just like, I feel so fortunate that I had that kind of support system, and like that made me like love sports and athletics and stuff like that. So I could definitely see myself coaching within the next couple of years and trying to at least get like a hand on like knowing what I'm doing before like Wade's like by the time he's in high school or something, I at least kind of like have a decent idea on knowing what to do.
Exactly. Well, I feel like he's gonna be another Cooper Kupp in middle school. Knowing you, he's probably gonna be like one at that level.
I hope so. I hope he plays sports. And I hope he likes it. But whatever he does, I mean, whether it be music or art or basket weaving, for all I care, as long as he's happy and doing what he's doing, it's that's all cool with me.
And not asking you for money all the time. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think honestly though, my daughter's like she's in like the 95th percentile for size, so she might be like a volleyball superstar or something. I don't know.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, she's gonna be big. She might be bigger than Wade. I don't know.
Oh. Then who's the big sister now?
We'll have a sibling rivalry.
remember who was born first, sis.
Exactly. But you never know, man. Sometimes the younger siblings get one over on them.
They do. I don't let any of my siblings do that. I mean, I love them, but I don't let them do that.
Are you the oldest?
I am the oldest.
See, okay, we gotta stick together, man. The oldest siblings it's the best. No matter what anybody tells you, the oldest siblings are the best. Yeah, exactly. We get all the trial and error, and we're always the favorites. No, not really. It's the youngest that's the favorites. I don't know how it is in your family.
I wouldn't say favorites. It's the ones that get away with the most.
Yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, it's great. I'd love to coach eventually.
What position did you play growing up?
So when I was a kid, I started out for one day, I played tight end, and then they were like, hey, you need to move to quarterback. And so I played quarterback ever since, all the way through high school, up until my sophomore year of high school. I messed up my shoulder really bad, playing soccer, of all things. Separated my AC joint and like had I still have it, like a click that in my shoulder. So I couldn't really throw with a lot of power and torque. So I moved to receiver and safety. So I played both sides of the ball. I played wide receiver on offense and then free safety on defense. Did a little bit of kicking too because I played soccer. So like I was kind of whatever they asked me to do. I'd play whatever.
You were the Swiss Army knife of the team.
Pretty much. I was like the Taysom Hill
there we go.
of high school football.
If only he got paid his money, right?
Well, yeah, that's for sure. I didn't see a dime.
If anything, your parents had to spend money for that.
Yeah, honestly though, I wasn't like all that good in high school. I really hit my stride in flag football of all things. That's why I was really like non-contact with being like skinny and stuff. Like it was a lot more suited to my skill set. It's like just being fast and not having 200-pound dudes hit you.
That sounds horrible. And just imagine people do that for a living, and think about that. They don't only go through like the heaviest hitters in the league, but they had to go through every single heavy hitter growing up too. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Monsters.
So the CTE is definitely real.
A very real thing.
Actually, I took graduation photos for one of the UCF football players, and they always joke about, oh, there's the CTE kicking in yet?
Yeah. Every time, man. There's a podcast I listen to. I don't know if you like shout out other podcasts on here.
We can.
Okay. Bussin' with the Boys with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton. They're out of Nashville.
Oh, I definitely know about Taylor Lewan.
Yeah. So
he's like one of the best tackles in the game right now.
Yeah. He's a big old lineman. So they've got a podcast. They rented out a bus, or they own a bus, and that's like, it doesn't work. It doesn't run or anything, but it's awesome. They do their whole podcast out of the bus, and they're really cool. But they always joke about CTE. Like if one of them forgets something, they're always just like jumping on the other one. Like, man, it's the CTE, isn't it? It's just like, oh man, I don't know. It's definitely a real thing though. CTE is real.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of their way of bringing up awareness for it, is by joking about it. I mean, kind of best way you can do it without being like, oh, CTE is a real thing, blah, blah, blah. And then, having a whole slew of things. But who's your team?
The Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins.
There we go.
Yeah. Fins up, baby.
Fins up.
Although it's always tough. It's been tough for a long time.
Especially recently, since they got rid of Flores.
Yep. R.I.P.
Of course, his first year, he wasn't going to do good because he inherited a really crappy team.
And then had 2 winning seasons after that.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins, didn't they win their last, 7 games or something like that?
Yeah, 7. So the last 7 games in a row, and then the 8 of the last 9 games. And almost made the playoffs. But when you start the season going 0-7, it's kind of hard to come back from.
Correct, but still, he did it.
He did. But I'm in the camp that it doesn't matter who our coach is. As long as we have the same owner, we're not going to get any better. We need to just get a new owner.
Right.
So when this podcast takes off, we'll take you, me, all of your fan base, and anybody else that we can scrounge up money from, and we'll try to buy the team, and then we can impose our own practices.
You know what? That would be sick if somehow through a podcast, oh yeah, this is called the Big DK Energy Bowl. Wait, what?
Yes, we're gonna buy the team. We can have a bowl game. We can do so much with that. We can name the stadium after you if you want. The Danny K Stadium.
Great.
We might need some sponsorships for that.
We might need a cooler name too, because Danny K Stadium sounds kind of.
I kind of like it. Would you rather the Danny Stadium, the Danny Dome?
The Danny Dome. Actually, fun fact: my first fantasy football team's name was Saints Heart Superdome.
Saints Heart Superdome?
Because the Superdome is the name of their stadium.
Oh, okay. There we go.
They Superdome.
Oh man. Oh, you're bad.
Well, this other guy's his was hanging with Hernandez.
Oh man, that's rough too. Mine was always I was a big Michael Vick fan, so I was always Vicks out. So and when the whole Harambe thing went down, it's bad.
That was 7 years ago when that happened, or 2015 or 2016 when he was shot.
Yeah, so Vic might have been almost retired. He was playing for the Steelers by then, if he wasn't retired.
Yeah, because I know he definitely played with the Falcons and then the Eagles, but then
and then the Steelers for a little bit.
I forgot about that.
He backed up Big Ben for a little bit there.
It's weird seeing that this is his last season. I mean, granted, people have mixed feelings about him because.
Of course, yeah, the allegations.
But it's just weird to think that our era of football. Remember, like you were talking about before, how John Elway, Troy Aikman, Dan Marino were the quarterbacks of your dad's era, and now all the ones of our era are kind of gone. I mean, Rivers just retired, Luck retired.
Yep, Big Ben's about to retire. Drew Brees is gone. All the guys that we grew up watching. The only one that we got left is, I guess, Tom Brady. But I mean, he'll be around till. I mean, I think Wade will be able to watch him play and remember. We remember when old Tom was out there slinging it at 50 years old.
He'll probably be 80 years old in the league, and then he'll probably be throwing it to Wade Freed.
So we could buy the team and then sign Tom Brady. We were guaranteed Super Bowls at that point.
Absolutely, but the thing is that how would we get him on our side?
Money. And we'll have him on the podcast.
On my puny podcast now.
Now though, we're talking this is the long game. This is the future. Starter, get a podcast, end goal, own a football team, an NFL football team,
and then sign Tom Brady.
What do we really need? $20 billion, $30 billion?
Yeah, that's nothing.
Couple years.
Yeah, exactly. All I just need to do is get into cryptocurrency and NFTs, and next thing you know, we're golden.
Exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
We can't actually pay with money, but can you play for the team for 3 Ethereum? That'd be awesome, Tom.
There you go. There's actually some NFL players that they do take their money in
crypto.
What was it? Yeah, crypto. They take Bitcoin and
Doge and
Ethereum. I've never heard of any Dogecoin or anything like that. I know that they take Bitcoin. Actually, when I was getting into real estate, oh man, this is probably back in 2014 or so, 2015. We had this guy that put in an offer, and he was he didn't put it in dollars, he put it in Bitcoin.
Oh.
And he was I put in this much, which is the equivalent of whatever it was, $100,000. He's like, can I pay in Bitcoin? And the buyer or the seller was like, what is Bitcoin? Nobody had it. Not a lot of people knew about it at that point. I guess by that point, it probably was pretty decent. But yeah, no, he was like, yeah, can you take that? And he was like, no, US dollars.
That's too funny.
I need greenbacks.
Speaking of greenbacks, our jerseys are kind of teal color.
Yeah.
So, Dolphins. Xavier Howard's still going to be with the team, right? Hopefully.
I don't know. I don't even know. We don't even know who our coach is going to be. So, there's so much up in the air. I sent Paige this video. Have you ever seen Interstellar?
Actually, I have not.
With Matthew McConaughey.
I've never seen that movie.
Well,
I know, right?
This translation is going to be just totally lost. But it was basically if you were ever on the outside of your life looking in, and you were making a decision, and if you've ever been back and you're making a bad decision, what you would do. And so this video was basically a rip off of that, and it's it's basically this guy freaking out, and he's like crying, he's banging on the window, he's like, don't do it, don't do it. And this guy picks out a jersey, and he was like, this is the first day that I decided I was going to be like a fan of this team.
Oh God.
I sent it to Paige, and I was like, man, if I only knew the things I knew now, I was like, man, I don't know if I'd be a Dolphins fan.
So your dad wasn't a Dolphins fan growing up?
No, my dad grew up in Chicago, so he was a big Bears fan.
Oh.
And my mom too. So my mom, she did not grow up in Chicago, but she grew up a big Bears fan. They like dressed me and my brother in Bears stuff, and like for the longest time we're like, you're a Bears fan. And
Well, at least back in the day, their defense was good. Monsters
they were
of Midway.
solid. Yeah. So that was back, like my parents were like big fans back in the 80s and stuff when they were winning Super Bowls and like.
Is that when Mike Ditka was coaching?
I think so. It was pretty exciting, I guess, for them, but I fell in love with the colors. I loved the Dolphins colors, and we always got Dolphins games and Buccaneers games and Jaguars games. So
There's
my brother,
3 teams in Florida. Whoops, forgot about that.
yeah, my brother was a big Jaguars fan for whatever reason, and I decided to go with the Dolphins. In hindsight, we all should have been Buccaneers fans because by that time we would have 2 Super Bowls at that point as fans, but
because you're from the Panhandle, so you can at least pick which team you want to go for. I'm actually from South Florida, so I got to go for my Fins.
you have to. Yeah. Just like with the Florida Panthers.
Yes,
hockey?
sir.
Okay, and then the Lightning have been good for a while, right?
Recently, they've been good. Yeah, they just won back-to-back cups, but like before then, their cup was back in 2004, but they sell 3 more than us, but we're looking good this season, so I'm just happy about that.
That's good. Got to stay hopeful. I never got into hockey, unfortunately.
You should.
I know.
It's a good time.
So like and hockey's like kind of fun to watch. Like I'd love to go to a game because like
Really?
I guess the Nashville Predators, it's only 2 hours from Chattanooga to Nashville. So going there and seeing them play would be
You would
fun.
definitely go see a Prez game. They're a solid team.
It'd be fun to watch anybody, man. Like I'm a Heat fan for basketball, and we went down to Atlanta and watched a game. Had a great time. Just any kind of sport like that, like especially hockey, is just like so electric, and like this is the last sport you could fight.
Correct. They allow violence.
Just so much fun, man. I could not imagine being at like a rivalry game in the NHL and like, what is it called? I'm thinking courtside, but it's Rinkside, there we go. So like imagine being on the glass and like watching 2 rivals just like fight it out in front of you. Like that'd get the whole arena going. Something like that, you don't get that in other sports.
Rangers and Islanders games are the equivalent of Packers and Bears.
Okay, both out of New York, right? Rangers
Yes.
and Islanders? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And that's one reason that they're not exactly best friends. But
Gotta hate them. The only team I hate, back to football, I know we're like kind of jumping sports, but the only team I hate is the Jets. I don't like the Jets. Anything about the Jets. If you're listening and you like the Jets.
also they're in our division. So.
Yeah, I don't really mind the Patriots, to be honest. Like the Bills, I kind of like the Bills as much as I would like somebody in the same division. But the Jets, they're just in any way, shape, or form. If you're a Jets fan, I don't like you as much as I previously liked you. You're called the New York Jets. You play in New Jersey. You're not even in the right state.
The Giants too.
Yeah. Well, apparently there's a lawsuit now from New York is trying to file suit on the teams because they're saying like, hey, you guys are claiming you're from New York and you're not actually, you play in New Jersey, like you play in the Meadowlands. So I don't know how much traction that's actually going to get, but like they're so embarrassed of their teams that they're like, hey, you guys can't even claim us anymore. While you're bad, you're going to have to be the New Jersey Jets and the New Jersey Giants. But then once you're starting like getting in the Super Bowl again, you guys can come back.
Great. That's right. It'll teach them their lessons.
Right.
I actually have a buddy who plays on the Jets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, his name is Blake Cashman. He played linebacker at the University of Minnesota. And actually, there's a guy was on the same team as him. I met him the same night I met Blake. He plays on the Giants. His name is Carter Coughlin. He's a defensive end, and he sacked Tom Brady one time.
That would be how I'd introduce myself. Hey, my name is Dakota. I've sacked Tom Brady. What tops that? I guess a Super Bowl, maybe? But you sacked a guy who has won like, 6 Super Bowls?
He's won more Super Bowls than most
teams.
Organizations.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. Okay, here's my question then. Since we're talking about football, the Washington football team.
Okay.
On February 2nd, so right now we're recording, it's what?
January
21st.
Yeah.
Okay. February 2nd, they're going to announce their name. What do you think it's going to be? And what would you want it to be?
That's a great question. I actually don't know. Because it's funny, because I actually lived in Virginia when they were still the Redskins. I remember there being a huge Redskins mural on the wall of the McDonald's. But
so just off the top, I've always liked if they stayed with red. So like there was like the Red Hawks for a while. There was the Red Tails, which is like a callback to the Tuskegee Airmen. Would be so super cool. The Red Wolves. We don't have an NFL team that's named after like a dog.
Actually, I was thinking about that the other day.
That's crazy.
Besides the Timberwolves, I don't think I can think of any professional sports organization that has a canine icon.
No.
Or mascot.
We got to get more dogs in pro sports. That's where I'm at right now. Think about the fan base. Think about just like you bring out a dog, like the bulldogs, man. Nothing more exciting than watch that big chunky bulldog walk out for 5 seconds and then go back to his little doghouse that's got the ice and stuff in it. There's nothing cooler than that. And imagine if they brought out wolves like at halftime or something. Like, hey, this is what a freaking wolf looks like.
And then they just release it out into the crowd. Just kidding.
Well, that gets extreme. Maybe like a halftime show. Release a pack of wolves on one side. Couple people, you got to make it to the other side. You get like $10,000 or something if you make it. If you don't,
or like $100K if you especially if you can live past all of that.
Because you're not outrunning a wolf. So your best bet is to just hope that you're faster than the slowest person.
Yeah.
Well, actually, but if you're talking multiple wolves, then you get into like how many people, how many wolves.
But how they hunt is that a lot of them usually take down one prey, but then
just focus on like one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrifying. That's more terrifying.
True, but then now that I think about it, like when they do that, they normally go against like muskox or like deer or elk. You know?
And they're like, you got to think these things are like apex predators. They're smart. Are they going to try to pick off like multiple people since they know? And like once you get past one halftime, when you get like mid-season and you're doing this, you get 8 weeks in, these things know what they're doing.
Oh, there has to be some kind of waiver saying you can't sue us for this.
Well, naturally, yeah. That's like right off the bat. But like, I bet you you've seen Squid Games. I bet for like money, a lot of people would do a lot like something like that. I might dabble in that. I don't know. I might try to just test my luck against a wolf and, ultimately probably get my leg taken off. Learning experience, man.
Correct. And it'll be a very funny story to tell your kids one day.
Hey, Dad, why do you have a peg leg? Well, I went to a Red Wolves game. I was up in D.C.
And then I joined a pirate crew.
That's the logical next step.
And then get a parrot for your shoulder.
Mm-hmm. And even a hook hand. What's the movie where the guy gets caught and he has 2 fake hands? Tropic Thunder.
Oh. God, I actually remember seeing that movie in the theaters.
I'm telling you, you've got the memory of an elephant. You like, what we were talking about? Oh, I Am Legend. You remembered that. You remembered the last time. I can't remember the last movie. Oh, the last movie I saw in theaters was Spider-Man. It was the new Spider-Man. I'm a huge Marvel nerd.
Oh, are you now?
Yeah, I always have been. I've seen the movies, all the movies, and then like me and Paige got back into it. So like during COVID and stuff, we didn't have too much going on. We were like, hey, let's rewatch the movies and stuff. So we tried to rewatch them all in chronological order. And we haven't made it all the way through. There's just so many movies. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. But yeah, so the last one we saw was Spider-Man. We saw it together. It was a lot of fun.
Is Spider-Man your favorite Marvel character?
I don't know, man. So like when I grew up, obviously there wasn't a bunch of like movies and like blockbusters and stuff. So I was more of like a DC comics fan.
Okay.
For the comics that I read, I didn't really read a ton, but I was always a big fan of the Flash for DC. For Marvel, I know it's like super cliched, but I would say Loki is one of my favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually really not somebody. Like I was expecting Captain America when you were saying that.
Nah, yeah, or like Iron Man or something. I love those characters are great, but it just like Loki's just got this like obviously in the early movies he's like a total D-bag, but like towards the end you're like, man, I really like him. And it was my favorite series on Disney Plus. It was fantastic, I thought. So, and I was Loki for Halloween. So.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
And my dog's name's Loki. So I mean, like I get there's like a bunch of different signs that point to Loki.
Fair enough. Mine's T'Challa. He's pretty dope. And
he's the coolest.
R.I.P. to Chadwick Boseman, dude.
Yeah, man. That was tough.
That was, and it was at like the worst time too.
Yeah, that was like within a few months of like Kobe. Oh my gosh, man.
I was talking about it on a recent podcast episode that I just recorded recently, and it's just kind of weird how like some people like Tom Brady, people think that they're gods, but then something like a helicopter crash can erase their existence.
Exactly. You think about like my parents would always talk about it, like where like do you know where you were when this happened or this event happened?
Like when 9/11 happened.
Yeah, exactly. I remember. Not to that extreme, but I can remember even like Michael Jackson, who like I listened to Michael Jackson. I'm like a decent fan of him, but like nothing crazy. I still remember the day that he died and like how impactful it was for like so many people. And just like to me, that was our generation was like, well, that was Kobe. Like a lot of people, like especially in the sports world, any kind of sports fan, like you knew who Kobe was and what he was about, and like. I mean, how many times have you shot something? Kobe.
I still do.
Actually, and I'm teaching Wade, so like my fatherly duty is to teach him, and like he'll try to go around, and if he's shooting, so he's got a little basketball goal and stuff. I teach him like you gotta say Kobe when you shoot, like no matter what, gotta say Kobe. Gotta
Not
say
Curry.
Kobe. No, Kobe. It's Kobe every time.
Our generation did it correctly because it's Kobe.
Exactly. I will also allow Dwayne Wade.
Fair enough.
He was my favorite growing up, so I always had to rock for Wade.
Being from South Florida, yeah, I got to go for the Heat too.
Of course.
See, the funny thing is that I became a fan of them during their Big Three era, which I feel kind of bandwagony. But then I'm
whatever.
from the area.
Hey, but like you say that, but like there weren't that many Chicago Bulls fans until Michael Jordan made it happen. Whatever gets you there, I'm just happy that you're there. As a Heat fan. So whatever that may be. Actually, I've got some friends that are like now Heat fans. Now that we've got like Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, like we got Tyler Hero, we got a pretty decent team.
Bam Adebayo.
And I'm just like one of my buddy's girlfriends, and like she's just getting into basketball, and like she's really like she's got the league pass, like she's like fully invested in it.
Oh, awesome.
And and shout out Emery, such a big fan. She bought like a Jimmy Butler jersey. She's like back when they were doing the two-tone, like the pink and blue.
Yeah,
like
the Miami Heat. Oh, sorry, the Miami Vice jerseys.
Yes,
those
were
nice.
Oh my gosh, so nasty. And I was like, man, if you were only a fan, like to just see them in their heyday. I was a fan back when we had Dwayne Wade and Shaq, and we won that championship.
That's all the way back.
Yeah. So like,
that's all the way back, man.
All of our Pee Wee teams, we were always like the Heat, and like we always like we're just like big Heat fans. And to watch LeBron come in and like win all those championships and stuff, we got so spoiled. And like it makes up for all the years of being a Dolphins fan and not making the playoffs or getting anywhere near the Super Bowl. So
yeah, and it's just a really sad fact that Dan Marino is one of the best quarterbacks, but he has not ever won a Super Bowl.
Never won it. Yeah. The only thing we can hang our hat on, still to this day, is that we're the only undefeated team. That's all we got right now.
72-73, right?
Yeah, 1972 team. And we won the Super Bowl the next year in 73.
Look at that.
So that was the last time we won a Super Bowl. We haven't won a playoff game since 2008 or something like that. Like, it's been a long time.
I was in middle school when that happened. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. So think about that.
Isn't it weird to think back that it's just like, dang, that happened when I was in blank school? School?
Yes.
And then it's just like, wait a minute. Well, I'm single, but you have kids.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And we were talking about something a couple of days ago, and something that happened like in 2011. And I was like, that's the year I graduated high school. That was 11 years ago.
11? That's a full decade plus one.
Oh, man. Yeah. It flies, dude. It flies.
Time does fly. And I was actually thinking about that on my way up here. I was just like, next year will be 2023. Wait, I went into college in 2013. I met you in 2013.
Exactly.
Almost 10 years ago.
Isn't that crazy? Oh my gosh.
That's nuts.
Man.
But I'm glad you're having a great time, Dakota. This is a lot of fun. And, it was definitely worth the 8+ hour drive.
Man, I still don't know how you're doing it. And thank you for being as energetic and great as you have been, because I don't know how you're like even functioning right now.
To be honest, I don't even know either, but you know what? We're going with it.
Yeah, and we're going out after this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, hey, I just love how you're just like immediately, yeah, I'm down. Okay,
yeah, let's go. But before we do that, we are actually at the last part of any Big DK Energy episode, which is actually my personal favorite, the bonus question round. It's 10 questions you do not know about, but they are appropriate, so you will still have a job after. That being said, Mr. Freed, are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, cool.
Man, I'm nervous. My heart's beating like really fast.
First one, who would you kill? I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Question number 1. If you could hang out and play catch with any player from Dolphins history, who would it be?
I'm torn between two. No.
You could say them both.
Okay, so like the obvious answer, like right off the bat, would be Dan Marino. Just like he's a quarterback. I was a receiver. It'd be perfect. It'd be magical. But also Don Shula. I know he wasn't a player.
I was going to say, coaches count too.
See, Don Shula was like, I mean, he's everything that you think of when you think of the Dolphins and like why they've been so good. And like he was so integral in like the success of the team. Him or Dan Marino, like either one. I could die happy the next day.
Excellent. So I have a question. There was a linebacker who died, Seau.
Junior Seau, yeah. I've got a signed glove from him.
That's pretty sick.
Mm-hmm. We went to a game in New Orleans, and he signed a glove and threw it to me. It was like one of the best days of my life.
Oh, no way. Actually, my first football game, or first NFL game that I've ever watched was Vikings versus Saints in Minnesota.
Was it in the Super Bowl? Oh, okay. Very cool.
It was still pretty cool, though. But
that's awesome.
Number 2, what is your dream vacation and your itinerary for that vacation?
To me, it's just like on what you could do there. I would say probably either somewhere up in Colorado, like Telluride or something like that, or maybe Utah, just to be able to ski, snowboard, be in the snow. Yeah, I didn't get that a lot when I was a kid, so that'd be my dream vacation.
Number 3, what are your top 5 vinyl records that you own?
Man, okay, that I own? Okay. Oh, man. In no particular order, I've got a couple Queen albums. I've got the Beatles' White Album that I'm a big fan of. Any Beatles album, though, I've got like a bunch of like their greatest hits albums, and I listen to those. These are all going to be like such cliche answers.
They're your answers to give.
I've got a lot of Bob Marley on vinyl. But like, to be completely honest with you though, it's like you got to be in a certain type of mood to like listen to Bob Marley. Like honestly, like when I'm being productive, like ironically, it's like that's normally when I want to listen to it. It's like when I'm cleaning or something like that, or I'm just kind of like lounging around. Michael Jackson. I've got a bunch of Michael Jackson on vinyl.
Which of his albums do you have on?
Thriller.
I was gonna say, you need to have Thriller then.
Of course. Once again, like I went to like this vinyl record shop and I just went and bought a bunch of stuff, and a lot of them were like just like the greatest hits albums, like or like whatever artists, like his top 8 songs or whatever's on like one vinyl. That's generally what I got into. And then like a dark horse, let's see, Boston.
Okay,
I got a Boston album.
Boston's pretty solid, actually.
Yeah, I've got a little soft spot for them.
It's sad though because their singer, I think, committed suicide.
Recently?
No. It was
back in the day.
Back in the day.
Jeez, well, I didn't know that. Oh man.
But anyway, number 4. If you could coach any position on an NFL team, what would it be, and what would the team be? But it's not the Dolphins.
Oh man, okay, that's a good question. Is it like right now? Like I would go to that team right now and I'd be coaching like a specific like set of players.
Yeah.
I would say the Seattle Seahawks, and I would coach quarterbacks just because I like Seattle. Seattle was such a cool place when we visited.
It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite cities.
It's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous, and like unlike any city I've ever been to. And then like quarterbacks, just because like that's the position I grew up playing.
Number 5. Tell me what your ideal hunting trip would look like.
Oh man, that's a good question too. Okay, so it's something actually I've never done. I really, really want to get into long distance, like hiking / camping hunts. So one of my buddies, fellow fraternity brother, Dale Bernstein, he gets out and he does these like really long like backpack hunts where you hunt for like elk, which I've only done like ducks and deer and stuff like that. Everything we take, we eat. We don't just like hunt for sport. But I think hunting an elk for like a long distance and like having to track it and like get across a mountaintop and just like there's so much that goes into it, and you're fully immersed in nature. You have to set up a camp, you have to eat. There's so much that goes into it. I think it'd be like such a fun trip to do for like a week or 2 and just like get out in nature and hunt and like really try to see if you could do it. I don't know, it'd be fun.
Sounds like something you would learn a lot of life lessons through.
Yeah, exactly. And like if you just like if you're out there with just like a couple of friends, it's like a lot of hunting trips. 99% of the hunting trips you go on, you're not actually going to get anything. It's so much more fun just like being out there with like people that you enjoy being around, and just like the camaraderie, the friendship, and the memories and stuff that you make is 9 times out of 10 way more fun than the actual act of hunting. So
never knew about that.
Yeah.
Number 6. Where is a place you haven't snowboarded yet that you want to?
There's a place out in California called Heavenly, and it's called that because it's like the most insane views that you could imagine. So I'd probably want to go out there and do that.
I think that's awesome. Fun fact, I was actually born in California.
Were you really?
Yeah, but out in the middle of the Mojave Desert on an army base. So yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Number 7.
Okay.
What is a far-fetched goal of yours?
Well, my teachers always taught me to make SMART goals, which are attainable. So I don't know. A far-fetched goal. Okay. All right. I've got one. So my like ultimate life dream, if I got like throwaway money, people always call it FU money. Like you just do whatever you want. I would have a house in Hawaii and a house in Colorado, and I would split the time. So in the summers, I would be in Hawaii, and then in the winters, I would be in Colorado. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the surf, you get to ski, you get to do whatever you want. You get the snow, but you get the warm weather. If you want to go, I mean, Hawaii's always hot. You could go in like December and it's 80. So like that would be great if you ever want to get away from it.
So number 8, if you could learn any sport you never played, what would you play?
That's tough. I played a lot of sports. Like of the main sports that you can think of, I probably played it or like grew up playing it. Minus baseball. No offense to baseball players or anybody, but like, yeah, man, I just don't have the patience or the want to learn. I mean, I know how to play baseball, but I would say probably I'm gonna go hockey. Nice. I never played hockey.
Smart move.
Yeah. So like we actually played one year in IMs. We played like floor hockey where you like run around and stuff. And I realized that like some of the other guys had grown up playing hockey and they could like do stuff with the puck as in like make it fly up in the air and stuff, which like you think would be easy, but it's not at all. It's like a real skill.
Oh, I actually grew up playing hockey, so I know all about this.
So my like number one thing was like, I'm fast. I'll just play defense and like stick my stick out and just like try to mess with people and like try to get the puck away.
You could probably back check pretty well though, since you're quick to get back.
But other than that though, like ice skating, I don't have a ton of experience. Stick work, I don't have a ton of experience. Being on ice in general, it would be a lot of fun. I would be terrible at a lot of it for a long time, but it would be so much fun to learn.
It's funny you say that because you have a picture of you standing on an iced up pool.
I do. That was about the extent of my ice skating. I've only ice skated, I think, like once or twice. Once in New York and then once back home when we had, or actually here, back when they had like a ice rink.
Okay.
So,
got it. Number 9. If you could watch 2 NFL personalities, players, coaches, owners, etc., fight, who would they be, and who are you sitting with in the audience besides your family?
2 NFL personalities, and they're fighting like fist fighting.
Like it's an MMA main event fight.
Oh, man. Probably Adam Gase. Yeah, which I'm sure you know. Yeah, I know you know him. And Mike Vrabel.
Oh, okay.
So Mike Vrabel is a dog. He's huge, and he could beat the shit out of Adam Gase. And there's nothing I'd love more than to watch him just get his teeth kicked in. So,
you know what? I'll add a freebie. You get a third person if that third person is Jay Cutler.
Smoking Jay, he's not even in the fight. He's just standing back there, like with his hands on his hips, just like mad about the whole situation. Who am I watching it with? Literally all of the Dolphins fans. As many Dolphins fans as we can fit in a 100,000 seat stadium. Standing room too, and in the parking lot watching it on the jumbo screen. Anybody that Adam Gase has ever slighted, I want all of them there. So I'm sure Jets fans would be there, and that would be one of the only times I would be fine with Jets fans being.
I was about to say that's one of the times where you two could put aside your differences because you hate this one guy
because he screwed both of our teams. Just watching him get killed by a coach I like would be awesome. Not actually killed, but just like beat up.
Isn't sport beautiful?
Yeah, violence brings people together.
More violence now. And Dakota, this has been a fun time because we're actually at the last question already.
All right, okay. All right, I'm ready for it.
It's actually not a difficult question at all. It's one that I ask everybody at the end, but the answers always vary. And it's, what is your best, most recent accomplishment?
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I got all my debt paid off in my whole life. So everything.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so I don't have any debt on me at all. So
that's up to you, brother.
Yeah, it took a lot of work and time and energy and effort, but my student loans was the last thing I had, and I paid it all off, and that's a pretty big accomplishment for where I grew up and everything. So
now you're a free man.
Well, now is the time to go into
freed man.
Now it's time to go into a bunch of debt. So just take out a mortgage and go buy a couple cars and just go crazy.
Never mind. Then you should be Dakota Loan, not Dakota Freed.
Man, yeah, Dakota indebtedness.
All right, so now that that's done, we are actually at the conclusion of the show. So before we head into the main part of the ending, I just want to say thanks again for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for being such a wonderful host. Thanks for even thinking to drive up here and let me be a part of this whole podcast and everything. It's been so much fun. It's been so cool. I do need one thing from you though. What's that? You got 10 questions. I'm going to get one. Okay. I'm going to hold you to this on behalf of everybody out there. I know everybody wants to see you do it, and I'll do it with you. We've got to do the polar plunge tomorrow, and no matter how we make it happen, we got to jump in the pool, ice cold. We're not going to heat it up. I'll show them that it's at 0, that it's at 30-something degrees, but we got to do it.
Got it.
Are you in?
I'm in.
There we go. There we go. And we're going to have to put it on. We're going to have to put it on the socials, and everybody's going to have to see it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm going to hold you to it.
All right, excellent. So, Dakota, with all the work that you do for the city of Chattanooga, whether it's renting out a property or fighting off 15 lawyers just to make sure that one person could buy a house, and also just for being such a great host and being such a great person overall, the list goes on, but it's for those reasons, and also for just being one of my closest friends for a very long time, that I think you, Dakota Freed, have big DK energy.
Hey, thank you. It's an honor. It's an honor to think that. I appreciate that.
Excellent. All right, so I don't know if you still participate in social media, but if you want, we're going to put all the social media in the description box below. And before we head out, is there anything you want to say or promote?
Shout out to the future podcast, Adversity Boys. We're going to be starting that soon, maybe. You've given me the last push that I needed, so we'll probably might be starting that soon.
Sure, I'm holding you to it. I'm going to hold you to that.
There we go. Okay. Shout out to my wife and kids, Wade, Ellie, and my wife, Paige. Other than that, they were good, man. I appreciate it.
I will give you one more for the dogs.
For the dogs. Oh, gosh. Loki, Mika, Pono, Malo, Penny. Love you, dogs.
Aw. All right. With that all being said and done, I'm Danny Carenter of the Big DK Energy Podcast, signing off.
What are they going to do?
Hi, big DK Energy fans. So this is me and Dakota. We are fulfilling our promise to do the polar plunge, and this is Dakota's son, Wade. Want to say hi to the camera, Wade?
Yeah.
Say hi. He's trying to follow the screen. There you are. And there's Paige.
Can you say polar plunge? Can you say polar plunge?
Polar plunge.
Yay! Smart kid. Seriously, like one of the smartest 2-year-olds I know. You can read, make sentences. Paige, how glad are you that you're not doing this?
So glad.
Ready?
All right, so it's 40 degrees right now, which is actually pretty good because before this morning it was 20, and now we're about to jump into the pool. Which you just how cold was it in the pool?
40. It's 35 outside, 40 degrees in the pool.
Oh, and awesome. And this pool isn't heated. We're just gonna set up the camera and we're gonna do the polar plunge. This really isn't a good idea, but you know, we said we were gonna do it, so we gotta keep our promises. All right. All right. All right. Are we good? We're fantastic. The camera's rolling. All right, so 3,
Here we go.
2, 2.5, 1, 0.
Oh my God.
It felt like pins and needles.
Why did we do that?
Hey Dakota, how you feeling, man?
I'm cold.
Well, we're definitely awake, so thanks for everyone who checked out the episode. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I would highly never recommend doing this. So, any last words, Dakota? All right. Thanks for tuning in.